Hey everybody, how you doing? So this is Nils Jensen and Get an Idaho Pulse, and today I wanted to bring you some information that might help you as a homeowner if you have a mortgage on your home right now. So I have two secrets that the mortgage industry doesn't really want you to know. So if you're interested in real estate type stuff, if you're interested in mortgage related stuff, Idaho stuff, Treasure Valley, Boise area, that kind of thing, our channel goes into that stuff all the time. And as a realtor, I give you my personal experience and my expert advice. So if that's something that interests you, please stay tuned to the end of the video and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. So let's get right into it. Let's get into a couple tricks on how you can pay off your mortgage faster and save a ton of money on interest. Okay, so the first thing I want to get into is the first of the two things that I want you to consider if you want to pay off your mortgage early and save yourself a lot of money potentially in interest charges. So these are actually pretty simple things to do. One of them that I'm going to go into second actually doesn't cost you really any more money. It's just a matter of being diligent and setting it up differently. The first one that I'm going to go into first is called the 2% rule. And that one actually will cost you a little bit more money. So what it amounts to basically is you're going to pay 2% more every single year on your mortgage. And so what that means is, let's say from January to December, if your payment originally is $2,000 per month, principal and interest without any other impounds, you're going to be paying that $2,000 plus an extra 2% on top of that. So for example, when you actually bump that payment up, you're going to be paying $2,040 from January to December. The following year, you're going to bump that up 2% more. So you're taking 2% of the new payment amount. That's the key. So the new payment amount is $2,040. 2% more is $2,080.80. And what we do is every single year, you do the same thing. You just increase it by 20%. It's very easy to calculate. Take your monthly payment, your new payment, times it by 0.02 on a calculator, and that'll give you the amount to bump it up. You just take that number and add it on to the amount that you were actually paying the previous year or month. Okay, and you might be saying to yourself, I'm not good at math. I don't like doing this kind of stuff. I let my loan officer and the bank set it up for me so I don't have to think about it. It's on auto every single time. Well, what you might be missing is the fact that this is actually very simple. If you know how to use a calculator and you follow the guide I just gave you by timesing whatever your payment is by 0.02, anybody can do this. You don't have to be a math whiz. I'm actually not a math whiz, and I was able to figure out the entire schedule, and I'm going to show you right now what it looks like on an actual amortization schedule on a loan amount that has a $2,000 per month monthly payment. Okay, so right here what you're looking at is a $2,000 monthly payment that we came up with. Doesn't matter how much the loan amount was or the interest or anything like that. This is mainly a 30-year term, and we have $2,000 monthly payments. And so what happens is when you actually schedule out advanced fixed payments that are actually extra payments to go on top, you're going to actually be able to use this calculator, which is called Carl's Mortgage Calculator. You can go on the website and find that on Google or whatever. If you schedule out your payments, you have every 12 months, you change the payment schedule to a bigger payment. So as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, you have payments every single 12 months, you have an additional 2% added on. And that shows you how many months it took to pay off the mortgage, 249 months. Now, normally this would take 360 months. So what we did was we actually shortened the length from 30 years to 20 years and 9 months by following this, which saved us $100,000 roughly on the interest that we would have paid. And we paid an extra $123,000. So that $123,000 cost, that investment we'll call it, that actually ended up saving us a bunch of money. Ended up saving us $100,000. It was almost dollar for dollar, a little bit less. So what this shows you is if you're able to slowly ramp up your payments, and it's just a little bit more every time, this will actually help you if you're the kind of person that kind of has a hard time setting up extra payment schedules. It's really hard to set aside a big chunk of money all of a sudden. You go from 0 to 100 all of a sudden. But if you slowly increase it every single year, it's easier for you or somebody that might have a problem just setting aside a bunch of money to actually slowly change the amount of money you make, maybe get a side hustle going, or just allocate money differently, kind of change what you're spending your money on and make sure you have that money allocated, budgeted for the next year. Makes it much, much easier to accommodate this. So this method may not be the best for everybody. So the other one that I wanted to tell you about is if you take a set amount. So if you take $400, for instance, $410, I think it was. So if you take $410 and just add that from the very beginning, so you start making $410 in extra payments from the get-go, what's going to happen is with the same scenario, $2,000, so now it becomes $2,410 just in this scenario. We just did a blanket amount. It took the same amount of time, but you actually saved more money. So instead of saving just over $100,000, we saved $121,000. And the reason why that is because the interest is calculated daily on these kinds of loans. And the more you pay up front in the beginning, the more interest you're going to save. Even though you pay it off in the same amount of time, you're paying more up front, and the actual amount of money that you're paying in the beginning, according to the amortization schedule, is getting knocked down. So every time you make a payment early on, it's actually calculating less interest because you're actually borrowing less money. So that's why this structure, if you can justify spending a little bit more money up front and keeping that money all the way to the end, you can actually save yourself an extra $20,000 in this scenario. Of course, everybody's results will vary because of the amount of money you're borrowing, but you can do this yourself if you go to Carl's loan or Carl's mortgage calculator's website, and you can Google that for yourself. It's very easy to use, and if you need help, just leave a comment and I'll go ahead and walk you through how to do it. The second method that I wanted to mention is something that maybe you've heard of and maybe you haven't heard of. If you make 2 equal payments per month instead of 1 payment, you can actually save yourself money. And for the same reason I just explained earlier, the interest is calculated per day. So let's say your payment is $2,000 again, just to use the same example. If your payment is $2,000 and you pay $1,000 on the 15th and another $1,000 on the 31st or whatever the last day of the month is, you're going to actually save yourself that 15 days of interest being calculated on that $1,000 that you were not borrowing from the 15th or the 16th to the end of the month. So that daily calculation is $1,000 less on your principal, the amount of money that you owe. Like I said, the faster you can pay down that principal, the better, because they're calculating the amount of money that you're owing them in interest on a daily basis. So again, I'm not a math expert. I'm not a loan expert. I've been dealing with banks and credit unions and loans and writing contracts for a long time. So I'm a little bit more familiar and comfortable with this. I know how an amortization schedule works. So it's easier for me to read this, but if you just follow that simple, one of those 2 things that I just laid out to you, it's actually very easy to save a ton of money, and you can actually do what's more important is paying your loan off faster. Faster you get that money paid off to the bank and you don't have that mortgage note, you can start putting that payment into something else. You can invest in another property, stuff like that. So this is just going to help you alleviate one more piece of debt and allow you to move forward in growing your net worth. So I hope this was educational for you. Hopefully you understood it. Hopefully it was easy to understand. If you have any questions for me, if you want clarification on this, or if you need real estate help or any kind of mortgage questions answered, let me know. I'm happy to help. I'm not a mortgage lender expert by any means, but I do understand it a little bit better than the average person. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.